In this video, I want to talk about how I got homeless again in 2 weeks with defamatory stalking, and how defamatory stalking makes people homeless, especially vulnerable people, and redundant because to keep them homeless, it has to make you, they have to make you redundant, and they make you redundant by disrupting every single relationship, professional and personal, and infiltrating in every aspect. I just want to say, I just decided in every video to just mention once again where it all started, the really bad stalking. I mean, I grew up with stalking because my father is a public figure that was stalked since the 80s by the mafia and the Masons. I'm not talking about the Freemasons, I'm talking about La Massoneria in Italy, about which I know nothing and wish to know nothing, because it's just that kind of topic that terrifies me. And I only speak about the Freemasons because I met them personally. I was disgraced enough to meet them personally because I went to Glastonbury due to my love for research and myth and Morgan Le Fay that I was embodying when I was in Glastonbury, of course. I have been embodying Morgan Le Fay since I was, I don't know, since I couldn't even talk. I mean, the first time I saw the film of Avalon, I was just a very little girl, but I was completely transported. There is nothing like Avalon that just moves something completely magical in me and enchanting, like all pieces of art put together and all pieces of writing that I ever loved. And so after trying to do like a PhD on creative writing on Glastonbury and been finally accepted by my favorite supervisor, that was, my favorite supervisor, was James Sharp. James Sharp was my absolute favorite, was my professor, but my other supervisor was a famous historian. He's a famous historian, and I wanted him to supervise my PhD on Glastonbury, and then he accepted me after many, many proposals, but I didn't have the money to do it, and I didn't win any scholarship for that. And so one day I went to Glastonbury and the stalking started, because there I met the Freemasons. So I am just letting everybody know that the Freemasons are not a charity, are not something that you should ever fancy to visit, because they are a criminal society, and what they do to women, it's beyond a horror show. It's beyond horror. It's beyond horror. There is no description for all the abominable things that they have done to me and to my loved ones, and how they have made apparently innocent people like my former landlady Vera Van Kesteren criminal, an absolute criminal. Sorry, but the mosquitoes on me, I'm allergic. And at the moment I'm very allergic because after being homeless, I've been bitten by all kinds of things, and I just swell like hell. I swell like hell. So it's not an option. My vegan friends will not talk to me anymore when they see how I kill mosquitoes. Anyway, so I was just wanted to discuss a bit how defamatory gang stalking works, and in this case I'm talking about the Freemasons just because I came across them and they told me that they were Freemasons just months before they started stalking me, and it is only like 2 years later, thanks to my mother, who is my ex-mother. I should say ex-mother because after a mother betrays you following a murder attempt or a rape or stalking, you cannot call that woman mother. Otherwise, you'll never be one yourself. And even if you have children, and you'll never be a woman again, I suppose, a person, because who does that to you is a criminal. I mean, whatever is the reason, which I can forgive, of course, and any mother, ex-mother, who does that, because society forces women to have children when not every woman's duty or purpose in life is to have a child. And so some women simply hate their children or don't want them. They just don't. And, you know, it's not anybody's fault. It's not anybody's fault. Not even yours as their child or grown-up child, but you'll always feel little against that woman. You know, I say against because what else can she be if not an enemy when she put you in the world and she didn't want that person to be there, you know. And so I suppose that most victims of stalking carry the mother wound or the father's wound of abandonment, because it is that wound that is a deeply personal wound that is also a social, very deep wound, because what you experience as a child, I mean, I studied psychology for many years, so I don't want to be boring, but what you experience as a child repeats over and over again until you resolve it, and that modern psychology acknowledges, like the ancient ideas of karma. So there is no fault. The fault is how the Westerners interpret karma, because it's not a fault. It's simply an unhealed wound. But usually you are a victim of stalking because your parents turned their back on you, and therefore your friends, and therefore your partners, and therefore your employers, and therefore your landlords and landladies, or persons who sell the house to you, or make available. Sometimes it's an employer or an agency that makes you know, a house available to you, and that agency, employer or partner will come to represent your parental wound. So and how society responds to your experience of stalking. I mean, I'm telling you all this very rationally, I know, but that doesn't change the fact that when you experience it, if you haven't healed it with someone, and that is not the therapist, because you cannot pay someone to heal that wound. You can pay someone, some people believe, I don't, to help you understand certain things so that you will heal it with someone else. In my opinion, that is the old traditional approach to healing, and that is holistic. You can only heal that wound directly with those persons involved in your therapy that are not the psychologist, because the psychologist cannot love as many people as need to be healed. So in traditional therapy, you actually interface with the unconditional love of your therapist. This is how shamanism and folk in Eurasia and folk healing in Western and Eastern Europe works, and always has worked. So it's a fundamental difference between the modern and the ancient societies, along many other spiritual and everyday beliefs and approaches to life that modern sects such as the Freemasons do not approve and do not understand. So if you are a voice for that culture and a theorizer of that, before even you have a strength, before even you gain a voice, a memento, they're going to destroy it. And it can be head injury, it can be slander with your partner, with your parents, with your employer, with anything. It can be videos of you naked going around the internet, and it can be anything. It can be anything depending on what they are, your weaknesses, and they're going to have meetings about you, and people are going to brainstorm on how to harm you. So it's not funny at all. And I want you to really deeply understand how your inner wounds are gonna play with them, and how they are gonna make your life hell and play with your psychological wounds, so that you will commit suicide or sound like a person that wants to. So when they actually kill you, when you disappear, you are already disappear. You're already a ghost. Long ago. I've been a ghost for many years already. So if I get killed now, with all the victimizations and psychiatrization and criminalization that they've done of my figure, it is obvious that everybody will think that I've committed suicide, or that I just gave up and accepted being a ghost, which I have, like, for very long periods of years. And sometimes people, actually tell me, oh, I thought you were dead. Like, more and more people have told me that they have learned that I was dead. So, also there is defamation about your death, so that when your death happens, nobody notices it, because you were already dead anyway, that is how you get just removed more and more from your family, if you ever had one, your friends, your work, your university, your supervisor. And when something really bad happens, that you think, okay, maybe this person now can save my life, and it can be anyone, because really it could be just one person that believes you, and it could be anyone, that person. Then when you have this feeling, you will go and grab that only relationship that you still have, that maybe is no longer a personal one, and try to explain what is happening to you, and you will lose that relationship as well. So this is how this is one of the ways that it works. In this case, when I moved to my new home, bloody hell, I mean, I would call them lagers of torture, because just the moving in of stuff, that it's quite relieving. It would be relieving if you could just believe it, that you're going to stay there for a while, like for a long while, that you can put some roots, maybe 10 years, I don't know. No way, no fucking way, not even 3 years, not even 1 year. It's a miracle. You cannot even do a pregnancy in one place. That is another way that, as an outsider, if that is your true desire, of course, and only you know that, and your vocation, because it's a vocation to mother. It's not a service for the patriarchal word. It's actually a vocation, and it's a sacred one, because you are going to birth life and you're going to nurture it, and that life is going to be before you, to the extent that when you die, that brat of a bastard might tell you that your room is actually hers, and won't even respect your mourning space and leave it empty or occupied by the sole person or persons that you would accept in that space, because they have lost, they can lose in the modern world that deep connection that the ancient societies used to acknowledge. But that nowadays it's more of a shame, your connection with your mother. And if you live with your mother when you're old, that is even worse, That is the contrary of matriarchal societies, where you actually, where you actually were born and die in your mother's house, like in Lugu Lake. But not only Lugu Lake, but that is a particular example, because it's really even the men stay with the mother, which doesn't happen in all matriarchies. In any case, I'm not here to talk about the matriarchies. I'm here to talk about stalking. I just happen to be a scholar of the matriarchies. And so I'm just talking in this free and non-rational way that I feel it's the most helpful. And well, what happened, I was there like 2 weeks, and first of all, I want to say, when you are forced to move a lot, and that doesn't have to be that you're a victim of stalking, it can be for all sorts of reasons. It can be that you're an anthropologist, it can be that you are a doctor in war countries or whatever. So, but it can be someone that's studying abroad. Don't trust people with your stuff. Don't trust their houses. Don't bring a lot of things there at first. Have a small selection of things if you can manage it, because for me it's extremely difficult due to the fact that after head injury I lost my highly organizational skills. I used to be very organized, and I could pack perfectly. Now it's not possible. I don't know where my things are when I move, and for a long time after I moved, especially in the last few years, it got so bad that when I got to Vera's house, I mean, not everybody knows this name now in my life, so I can just say Vera's house. I was so exhausted, and everybody has been asking me, why haven't you left? Even the person that was accessing me, my need for a contact person, was asking me, why didn't you leave? With such despise, I felt in her voice, and I mean, I just said the thing that everybody expected, which was not the fundamental answer. So I'm not going to say what I said to everyone and what I said to her, just to stop them asking. But actually, why I didn't leave was that I was too exhausted, and that was even before the assault at Christmas. That caused me a renewed head injury, and therefore much more confusion and pressure to my brain, and stress, and inability to speak, inability to relate. I was like in the complete without, I didn't have the bath yet. I didn't have the shower. I was like for 20 days just completely in the silence, not coming out of my room, because just even to go and have a laundry and have to meet her and encounter, you know, the horror of what was happening, that was being assaulted at home and trespassed on, basically, and not believed by her. And if you say, well, it was not an assault because he didn't try to hit you, yes, but someone that forces to open the door on you and forces to his presence also on your sacred day, you know. Anyway, it took me a long time to recover some speech and to recover some ability to just be outside of my room, even though I craved it very much, because if I had been at home, I mean, I don't know what that means anymore, but in any place that I considered home, I would have just gone out and have long walks in the forest or by a beach to just recover. But because that wasn't safe, not possible, because the stalker was outside, and whenever, you know, to go out to have a walk meant to have to take the car, which was impossible. I didn't even have a car at the time, or maybe I just recovered it, I don't remember. But I couldn't drive at the beginning, so it was just completely impossible. I just stayed there and centered myself, because the worst thing that you could do is actually let the urge of the world take over you, and then be wobbled out of your space into the danger, because this is when you get really harmed very quickly. And it's not necessarily being killed. It can be that you get jailed. It can be that you get quickly criminalized, find yourself in a situation that is dangerous, and you can be become an enemy of the authorities and of the police if your stalker is clever, and especially if they are Freemasons, because Freemasons are particularly like other sects. I mean, there is not just the Masons, there is also other sects. I know not the names of that they are completely blended in society, and their difference with you is and with the modern society is that the modern society might have beliefs in God or a supernatural being, but the fundamentals of this society are secular. So if you go to court, it needs to be based on facts, not on belief. Not that that person is bad because we all believe that, because she's a witch and she adores the devil, or whatever crap they say, you know, about that person, because they really talk about you that way, like, honestly. But they will not talk about you that way with the normal society, with the court, with the judge, with whatever, you know. They will just say and make up a story to fit the narrative, to say that you're bad, so that you go to hell, basically, in this life. And to do that, all they have to do is to join forces. So I'm just making an example here of what happened in the last 2 weeks, to make a very quick example, like how quick it is and how vulnerable you are. When you, especially if you are abroad and you have been marginalized and blah, blah, blah. So it is so important that you stop escaping. Everybody will tell you, like, obsessively, go away, go away. And they don't understand that the more you move, the more weak you become, and that they will keep following. Also, the victims of stalking themselves from the Freemasons will tell you the same crap, because maybe they've only been stalked in the blimey country. And so, because they do not have experience with anything abroad, and how the stalking just continues abroad, doesn't stop. They are under the delusion, as I was before, that if you move country, it's going to stop. No, it's not going to stop, because if they are a community like the Freemasons, that are a sect of 6 million people in different across the, I don't know, across the whole fucking globe. There was even the guy from the Hawaii that was the Freemasons, I believe, because of the very creepy things that he did and said that didn't pass unnoticed, and that couldn't be confidential. Like, he knew exactly. He asked me about a village where I lived, like precisely, and the one next to it, and he said that he was a professional window cleaner, even though he had previously stated that his job was another one. And they insisted several times that he comes to clean my windows. And when he was saying these things, I was just saying, oh fuck, this is one of them. But then he was so pleasant, because they have a way of being really pleasant and like storytellers. They watch a lot of crap, and they make other people feel important with all these techniques to make them feel part, and to make them also feel afraid of being rejected by the collective. That is the most profound human fear. And they play with this a lot with women, when they want to put them against each other, and especially against each other when the other woman is a victim of their stalking. So they play these mind control techniques very, very skillfully to make women hate each other and attack each other, even victims amongst themselves. Like, I've been told the most horrendous things from a victim that I was just trying to support with the help of my father. And they just orchestrate the art of triangulation. So like, if you are an intriguer yourself, just forget it, because what you will want is to just keep your relationships clear from all triangulation or rectangulations or pentagulations and so on and on, hexagonation. Like, they would play with everything they can, really. So what happened here was basically, first they did something to the horse. They opened to the horse. So I found the horse opened. Someone had opened the horse. I went for a walk, and I saw the horse there, and the fence was still closed. And I thought I would really like to open to him. But then I just wanted to be for a moment just with myself, just after my needs, because it's so hard for me to do it. And in the first 2 weeks that I got here, this guy is an ex-commander as well as a currently psycho person. And it just forced me basically to do jobs for him in exchange of an amount that doesn't even cover my petrol to come here twice a day, because I had to do four trips of half an hour, spend 2 hours, then do half an hour that is animals in the morning and half an hour is animals in the evening. And all was because so he could feel safe to leave the animals with me when he was away, which felt something that was important to him in order to be able to go on vacation now and again. So to rent a house to someone that would do this for him. And in saying that I didn't have a lot of money, and that I was I didn't want to tell him that I didn't have a lot of money, but it just came out of my concern for money. So it just came out because I was asking what it would cost if I do that, what it would cost if I do that, you know. And when you talk about, so that's one thing I should have, that I'm going just to spot them, my mistakes for you. One thing was never let them know that you don't have money, but never make them look it like you have a lot, because people will also exploit you if they think you have money. And if you are just have enough to survive, and you know, you look like well looked after, but well below wealthy, but still okay, yeah, I would just downplay it a bit, but don't ever look poor. You don't want to look more rich, because they can really fuck you up. Then you lose all your money, and they will really try to exploit you if they think that you're rich and hate you. But if you, you know, just don't show up, but don't ever let them say that you don't have money, or let them think that you don't have money, even if you don't have money. That is a very important thing, because the way people treat you when you are alone, a woman, and without money, I am not even gonna talk. I'm not even gonna go there. I mean, I'm going to make a house. I'm working on a house safe house project for immigrants, especially for immigrant women, and to prevent prostitution, especially in countries like Germany and the Netherlands, where prostitution is legalized, but they don't really actually care about what harm they do to the vulnerable people that end up in that business. You know, that is not a business; it's just legalized rape, always. But if you are one of those people using the sex worker term, you will not like my videos about what the legalization of prostitution really does, and I'm going to talk about this in this series of videos, because it is particularly relevant in countries where it is legal, and it is particularly risky when the municipality don't take action on safe rent and abuse of terms in rent, because they wait for you to do a complaint and then they don't respond. You know, they don't respond. In months they haven't responded. And is there a reason why? Is it a judgment on my person and on my sanity, on my you know, status in society, level of education? Like, what is it? Or it's a different, what I mean, in their mind, because in my mind it's a description of their own worth and reliability and value as a municipality, you know, in their duty towards people, in their duty of care towards people, which they have completely failed in the matter of my homes. So I'm making a safe home project to propose to all municipalities of Sweden, the Netherlands and the UK and Ireland, so that people can be safe at home. And I'm gonna go wherever one of these municipalities gonna employ me, it doesn't matter where. Because when you're a victim of stalking, a job, especially like an institutional job, it's gonna save your ass more than anything. So that's what you want. And then from that you can just rent anywhere near there, because they will help you to rent. And anyway, you will have enough money to rent if you get a job that is a proper job, and then you will come out of your marginalization, and your story will come out, and the truth will come out, and the offenders will be prosecuted, which is why they don't want you to have a job. They don't want you to have, they don't want your potential employers to think even remotely that you could be employable. And for 5 years, I was made to go past that age of employability, that in my sector is so so small. You know, I still can get employed because I have disabilities. So there is some universities, although very rarely, that they do employ disabled people now and again. And so I can apply in that little windows, like I can be that disabled person that can apply to jobs out of my age range. You cannot get a chair anymore when you are my age, if you didn't get one before. And that's really sad. I really wanted to teach at university. That's why I went through all the trouble. I wanted to teach at university. I thought it would be interesting. I would also like to teach at primary school, which I did and was fantastic. But it's just two different things. One, it's extraordinary because you have the brain, it's at its new candle level, when it's just walks, clean walks. And then at university, you have these young minds that are still open and a bit more joyful and harmonious and working. They still work a bit, you know, and you can reason them through the true matters of philosophy and all that, you know. And it's much more interesting. Whereas, like, if you are to teach, anyway, I don't want to go off another tangent. I'm very bad like that. And so, yes, I found myself saying yes to jobs that I didn't want to do because this guy wanted me to be his nanny for free, basically. And he was even proposing me to be my martial art teacher on very short notice. So basically, I was to be like a puppy dog. Oh, yes, master, I'm coming. Oh, you're gonna teach me. And you are gonna, and so that was the exchange. So I was going to do everything for free, you know, because first he said, I'm gonna give you 15 euros a day to look after all my animals twice a day, which would be fine if you're doing it like at home, like you are house sitting for them and the bastard is away, okay? Then, okay, I don't have to deal with your fucking face every day and your horrible, horrible moods and very, very, very rude attitude. And so, okay, I can do for 15 euros a day. That's like a discount on the rent. All right. When you go away, that was something I said yes to. It seems a good idea. But not that I look after your animals when you're here. My God. Because it's like, again, being an au pair when you're 20 and you are in the house of these absolute nightmares who do not even know how to look after themselves. And basically you find your self-care in the ways not only of looking after the children, which can be really pleasant. I mean, I really, really, really like to be a nanny. I could be Mary Poppins all my life, you know. I wouldn't need to have my own children if I could be a nanny. Almost I couldn't. I mean, I would still want my own. But I would definitely adopt if that was allowed, you know, like if you didn't have to be rich and married or at least rich. If you're Irish, you can be just rich. You just need 35,000 euros, not very much. In Italy, you need to be married as well as having 35,000 euros to adopt. In England, you can be gay, but you need 10 years of references from people that are from the UK, even to foster. So they make children inaccessible to a lot of good people, and a lot of good parents become inaccessible to those children, which is a tragedy. Especially when you become stalked by the Freemasons that really support only the normal kind of model where everybody is straight, or if you're gay, you are either like, you know, these gay men that maybe are sleeping with some leader that also has a wife, or yeah, I mean, gay men can get away with everything, but they don't like lesbians, and lesbians can exist in Freemason societies only like as a subspecies members of, because Freemasons, it's already a male society, it's a fraternity. Then what counts is the wife for them, and they have special methods that they know themselves how to keep a woman, because they have worked for hundreds of years on it, you know, how to treat that woman well, whilst it is their property, and then treat every other woman like an object and a servant, or even less. Which is shocking, because when I hear him talking about his wife in adoration, I'm thinking, did he kill her when she turned out to be not the perfect idol that he made her to be in his mind? Or did she actually die? You know, because these men sound scary, that kind of idealization. It's actually a very deep form of objectification. I don't know if you are with me. I hope so. So I found myself doing the animals, and then someone opened to the horse on, after like a week I was doing it, and the horse ran away as I tried to catch him, because as I came back I saw the horse out but without any harness, and I was, what happened? And I saw, oh my God, what I feared happened, you know, that the stalker would come here and do something to the animals, because it's such an easy way to get in trouble if you're looking after them, you know, to do some mess. Especially if there is a pony, especially if there is a horse. Imagine if it was a big horse. Oh my God. So for a moment I really panicked and ran after him, but I thought, no, it's just gonna run more, so I stopped. And then I was just tearful for a moment, and then I thought, fuck, if someone sees me. And I just closed the gate. I just closed, not the gate, the fence. I closed the fence. It was these three. Of course, I would never, because I thought, if I go and tell him, like, I'm going to lose my appointment, because now it's really late, and I had that very important appointment to get help to do the police report. And then I thought, he's just going to blame me straight away, won't believe a word that I say, because how he treated me already, like, it's like the slaves in the Middle Ages. Even in the Middle Ages, if he had treated me like that, I would have had battered him and strangled him or poisoned him I don't know, you know, like chopped it off. I would have dared him on the plank, because in the Middle Ages I would have been a fighter, I'm sure. I wouldn't have been as floppy enough. Now I'm nothing. I cannot fight at all. And well, so I closed the fence and I went to walk the dog like it was nothing. I was just a bit like, you know, when you stutter. I was just stuttering a little bit. I'm going to do the horse after. I need to go to Stad Canal because I thought the horse is going to go to the fields of the neighbors because it's everything fenced. I mean, and they're going to stop the horse and they're going to put him back. If I gonna tell him I'm gonna be homeless again and that I cannot afford, I could die, I cannot die because someone opened to the horse, he would not believe that I'm not that stupid, that I have looked after horses since I was a little girl. And of course you go inside the fence with the lead on, with the harness on, and then when you are inside you close and then you open to the horses. So this crazy force of nature can be free without danger to you and others and himself, you know, it's obvious. And then I never thought of doing a video because I thought, well, they're not really going to do it. And then they did it. I thought here they could come and open to the horse if they want to bother me, you know. And they did, and this method worked because he didn't blame me. He blamed the horse for being on heat because there was a lady horse on heat. And so for a moment I got away, you know, with something that otherwise would have been absolutely blamed on me. And then 2 days after, I had to be here again for the last time, and I just really didn't want to come, but I had to, because I thought if I tell him no, when he forced me to say yes, I didn't even have an option to say no because he just forced the job on me without even waiting for it's really that kind of person. So like, I got to that point and I said, okay, but I can only come at 11, which was not convenient to me at all because I shouldn't have come at all. I just should have said, no, I have a lot to do. But he said, okay, 11, and then 11 wasn't good. He wanted everything to be done by 11, and he started telling me off because I misunderstand everything and I make a mess of everything. Like, I've been there 2 days. All I have is to feed the cats, which I've done, feed the ducks, which I have done, feed the horse, which I've done, feed the fishes, which I've done, walk the dog, which I've done, but for 15 euros and drive back and forth for 15 euros a day, that doesn't even cover the bloody petrol, get told off. And then the next day the car is not working because I go there and there is the anti-theft immobilizer on, and the car key that was still working, that had been fixed, and I mean, not working very well, but working, had been fixed enough to work, to turn and to be able to open the door if for any reason the battery was flat. And I see this light flashing, and I know that I hadn't left the emergency lights on, nor the normal lights on, because the car would beep if you forget. You cannot forget in that car because it beeps. In some cars you can, but not in that car. It would do beep, beep, beep. Unless it's emergency lights. But who uses them? I never use them. You only use the emergency lights if you have to stop in the middle of the motorway because there is an accident. So they make also a lot of noise. You would notice them. So the car was closed. The guy the stalker has the keys because he used a woman to stalk me with, And I trusted this woman like a sister. She even had a pin of my card, and then she took me to court and told my secrets in a wholly, completely distorted way to criminalize me with the court and just break every trust a human could have in another, that I could never trust a person again after what was done to me. Like, not unless, you know, the court of Groningen crawls at my feet and makes, I don't know, like pathways and pathways of roses, showering me with, I don't know, Ferrer Rocher. Like, I can't imagine a way that I could really ever trust a person again. No, because what they do when they stalk you is also that they destroy your relationships and in yourself deeply the ability to trust, because they really infiltrate everything, and you realize how human relationships are really fragile. So it's just really shocking, you know, like how that judge could be saying, like, if this was reading out of a script without having heard my defense. Oh, it's not healthy for you that you live there, you know. Like, it's me that it's making it unhealthy, not the stalker that is like completely psychotic, and not the landlady that is going along with this psychosis, and all their friends that he has involved in it, because they can really make it, they can really make you look like a monster, that even if you are not a monster, even if you're quite lovely and lovable, they can gang stalk you in a way that they, so the guy was like, the guy from the Y, the Mason from the Y was saying, have you ever sent someone away? And that was a strange question that he asked in a way just to make a memento. And that is called like false lighting. It's a method of gaslighting and smear campaigning. Like, I am just going to create these false mementos to make you feel like I know that you are listening, and I'm just going to make you feel, did she ever send anyone away? Oh no, but she's going to send you away because you are a real creep. And they are going to play with that again and again. They are going to make you feel that you are unlovable, that you are miserable, like all that trash that my father used to do with my mama. You know? Those methods that men used with women. There is a song in Italian that it's very, very famous that goes, prendi una donna, trattala male, lascia che ti aspetti per ore. And it means, take a woman, treat her bad, let her wait for you for hours, and write her poems and poetry, and she will treat you like crap. But if you just basically go to sleep with her and are sweet in bed, and then you are a devil, she's gonna love you. That is the song. And I just noticed how men, as they grow older, they just develop this like real cruelty towards women, younger women, like real cruelty, like really fucking bastard cruelty. That's why, like, if I were straight, I would always fancy the young men, always younger, the youngest as possible. Call me a pedophile even, but no, I don't fancy men, that's it. But it would be like young, because at least they remember how they are. Just like, I am talking about now the stalker mentality, and I'm talking about the psychology behind stalking defense because it's very important. It's very important, and that doesn't have a time limit, and that you have to sink deep with me into both the understanding of the wound that is causing you to allow men to stalk you, and also the understanding of how to get out of the wound and remain afloat, and above the surface level, so that you can have inspiration on how to get out of it, because you cannot get out of it alone. Nobody can. You need help of other women. You really do. But what I notice is there isn't that help around. Although you believe that there is, that if something happens to you, you can go to the Anti-Violence Women's Center, you can go to Philomena, you can do it. No, it's not true. The number of victims that they actually listen to, that they take, is just regular cases of domestic gender violence, where it is your own boyfriend, your own husband that is doing the crap to you. Okay? So if it's the husband of another lady that you were dating or loving and that she died for cancer because of it, they don't give fuck. They don't give fuck. They don't even care if you married that woman. They don't give fuck. Oxford. I'm always very, I'm joking. So, no, they don't care, and they're gonna just play with your little girl ones, but very, very deeply, like a man would. But they do it together. They use that masculine mentality, and they use women like Vera Marquester and that are up to that mentality to play that on other women, because they are in that duality. They are very much in that top to down and punishment culture, like, I punish you because you were bad. I'm gonna point the finger because all my friends are saying you're bad. There is none of my friends that doesn't say that you are bad, therefore you are very bad. And they just use really the finger point. I was being told on a daily basis that all her friends and family were telling her that I was a bad person to hang out with. And I was not only denied the room that I had come from abroad from, across the sea and across the ocean, and got in a lot of trouble because of it. But also just really the sheer abuse on a daily level, to be told that your form is different. I was completely isolated. I could not meet these people. I could not talk to these people. I did not see these people coming into the house. But somehow these people had images of me. There was a camera that was catching me with my witch hat at Halloween that I didn't know of. And all these people were just gossiping about me. I was not seeing them. I was not hearing them. I was not meeting them. But somehow they were seeing me passing by, and from that passing by, they were making a lot of judgment to tell Vera that I was not a good person to hang out with. So that completely destroyed the relationship, because from that moment she said, I'm not going to be your friend. And that was about my birthday time. So she took me to the Ibiza and said, it's very nice over here. I'm going for a walk there. You can go for a walk over there. So she decided that we're not going to even have a walk together, because it was so embarrassing to spend the birthday with a pariah, just even have a walk. It was already too friend-like. And she said, I'm not going to be your friend, And I just looked at her. Why the fuck she has another work away? Why? to abuse people once they go and meet it. Like, who wouldn't be friends with the people that come with you? Like, why are you on Workaway? I used to be a host on Workaway and such websites because I want to make friends with people as well as having their help. Otherwise, I just pay for someone to do their job. It's less tiring. I don't have to cook 3 times a day. It's less expensive in the end. I mean, what is the point? I mean, I don't know if it's less expensive. Maybe it's more expensive in some cases, but otherwise it's exploitation. It's what people normalize in this country and in Sweden. I'm just horrified because a lot of government officers in this, these local municipalities, a lot of them in Sweden and in the Netherlands, just take workawayers, and they are rich. They can pay. If they're not rich, they are wealthy. They can pay for just someone to do the jobs, without. But when someone goes as a workawayer, they are never treated as equal. And workaway is doing absolutely nothing unless the police is acting on it, which is very difficult to do if you are in a vulnerable position. Because when you are in a vulnerable position and you try to go to the police and you are on workaway, the police is going to listen to the people who live in that country and in that village for decades before you even arrived, you little asshole from abroad or workaway. And they're not going to give a fucking care about you, the police, Unless maybe like after a long time of stalking, and you got really injured because you lost everything and everyone, maybe they're going to look at you and take some compassion, but it's not sure. Maybe they put you in jail instead because it's easier than acknowledging that they let their system destroy your life, So if you have some brains, please speak, even if you sound completely like an idiot in front of the camera, like myself just now. And in all the previous videos, because no matter how you make a fool of yourself and die of mine. If I had found a video of myself 3 years ago or 4 years ago, my God, I would have avoided so many mistakes and I wouldn't have left the UK at all. It's almost impossible to come back. It's almost impossible to find a rent. At least I had a land. So my idea is to go back to that land and hope for the best. But that won't happen without my cats. So in the meantime, I'm going to make all these long videos about stalking and the psychology of stalking, and hopes that all those selves of mine that are out there in other bodies and need advice about how to get out of crap, they find my videos. And well, so after the horse was found open, my car was vandalized and attempted theft on, just in the same ways that it was in Vosseberg in September. And that was in a closed road though. So it's like the proof that I have not been lying, for one thing, about what was happening at the lake and all this gang stalking going on and all these cars that I find and then taking videos of now. Well, there was a car in particular that was very strange, RBN, and then I don't remember. I wrote it down and this paper disappeared from my car, like all ads about Martino. I had made like 20 of them. Gone. I just made a photocopy and only distributed margaritas. And they took all the ads of Martino. Like, how cruel and low and coward are they? how can you call them men? And they are all the age of my dad, and they do harm to cats, to harm ladies, to harm persons, to make them upset. I mean, in my situation in Vosseberg, it was really that through the cat they could cause me meltdown. And if you know what an autistic meltdown is, please Google it. If you don't, Google it, because it's not a tantrum, and it's loud. It's so loud, and it's so horrible to feel. So much more horrible to feel than to hear from outside, because I have heard them from outside before that happened to me. It only happened to me when I was above the age of 30. Never happened before. It's really, really horrible. It's like thousands and thousands of glasses are breaking, and you know, after this build was trust, this trust was built with this person that was my host at the beginning of the experience, only for a very short time, because I was not stupid. When I saw that she was not gonna cook for me, I wasn't going to work for her, because that was my main reason for doing it. The cooking. I don't cook. I just don't cook. I need someone to cook for me. So that's why I thought, okay, I'm gonna try it. It's an exchange. If they cook for me, we're equal, but she was not gonna be your equal, and she was not gonna cook for you. So once that was disrupted, she became my landlady, and a lot of trust was built, because we went abroad, and during this trip my cat was stolen, and I talk about it in previous videos. It was stolen whilst on camera. So the cats were inside. We saw them, both of us, up to the ferry, and then when we came off the day after, I had gotten this message from the neighbors saying, I'm gonna give, why did you give the keys to my husband? Basically, she was not happy with that. I gave it to her husband to protect my cats. But her husband was an asshole like her, and they put it in the letterbox. And the stalker and the two stalkers, because they were the two private guests of Vera, they stole the key. I mean, the guy already had all the keys of the house. He has everything. He dubs all the keys as soon as he has them, because my car keys, he has my keys for sure. He might even have the central keys, because Freemasons do refine stalking, so he might have been able to even order the central key of my car. He could even have that. But for sure he has a manual key, and so when I fixed the door, he could open and close it. Yeah, I stop it because the shock is immense when you go and dig in this stuff, and this is why the videos about stalking, if you talk into the psychology of why it happens, how it works, and how you stop that dynamic, it cannot be short. For me, what helped me the most was to find someone, or some place, you know, that doesn't rely onto a house. So you could ask someone to put a tent in a place where they don't walk through. It mustn't be the garden. It mustn't be something that they tread on. It must be something that where they never ever go, like if it's in the back of the land. Because if you can find a place like that and never ever share it with anybody online. Never ever tell anybody that doesn't have a very, very deep connection with you to understand your situation and to be able to talk about it freely, so that they understand to never ever put any comment of it online. Because when you're stalked in this way, that I am at least, all your contacts are stalked as well. And that, I think, it's how it happens nowadays. And this is why even when you change phone, you get rehacked immediately, which I have proved of. I have demonstrated to the British police that after minutes after putting the new SIM in a new phone, I was already hacked. And I was called by this person that I knew to be him, and that happens because you are going to text your messages on WhatsApp or on SMS or FaceTime or whatever, or Google Meet on your contacts. And your contacts are going to see your new email, your new phone number. And from that phone number, any hacker can hack you. It's super easy. It's never going to stop unless you make a new phone number, a new device, protect your Wi-Fi with a VPN, and not only your devices, because your Wi-Fi will be, protect all your devices and keeping always Bluetooth off, because they will put devices around your house to hack your Bluetooth. No, I mean, this crap, I never thought this was possible. I am not that kind of mind. I'm not a hacker. I am the contrary. I'm a horse whisperer. I'm a ballerina. I hate that crap. I hate the internet. I hate all of it. Really. So the fact that they had to take so much more of my time, of all the things I hate, that is the internet, that is the police reports, that is lawyers' report. I don't have a life anymore. I don't have a life anymore. That's not a life. That's not a life. But you have to do this stuff, Then you wonder why you have PSTT. Of course, because you do not have your life back. Because you heal from PSTT by doing the good things, things that you need, that nourish your soul. But no, you have to do the police report, you have to go again to the police and again to the police and then explain again, because they are going to play it down and they are going to ask you again and again are you still doing the shooting training? That's what they're going to ask you. Are you still learning how to shoot the bastard, basically? Are you still going to learn how to defend yourself? No, because if you're a woman, you cannot scream, you cannot be afraid, you cannot defend yourself, you cannot be upset, you cannot be angry. Because if you are you cannot be sentimental, and you cannot be complaining, and you cannot cry about your disgraces, because if you do, you are a dirty bastard, and you are going to crap in hell, like you're going to rot in hell. That is like on the margins of the streets. This is how people think. And so I'm really glad that in Ireland now the domestic abusers' names are going to be public. And here I'm just going to show you, like, he's going to have it all his way. Yeah. So that doors opens on the outside in this like garage. The cameras are controlled by him, so he can come in my room anytime for an emergency, but he establishes when it's the emergency. So he decided that one day he had to talk to me, say that I wasn't good enough because I came at 11, which I asked him if it was okay for him. If he had said no, I would have said, then I have to drop it, I cannot do it, I would have said no. But he said yes, and so I said, all right, I'm going to come. And then he was complaining and expecting to come in my room. He knocked and entered. because at 11 I hadn't finished everything, and I'm like, I'm not your fucking servant. I'm your tenant. But this is how low you are in society when you are a stalked woman. Basically, you are nothing, because the fear, like an animal, makes you nothing. And if you scream and say go away, like a guy came to me last night, not 2 nights ago, after another guy that I didn't want to come came to me, and when the good guy came to say how are you or what happened, are you okay, but he hadn't seen it, he just was seeing me walking. It was like I screamed at him, go away, and then he and his wife demonized me because I had not recognized them in the dark. I had seen them only once. Who remembered them? I didn't. I totally didn't remember them at all. And the thing is, when you are a foreigner, like everything is so overwhelming, and there is so many faces, and there is so many people that are new and things that are new, and you don't remember the names, and maybe you vaguely remember the faces, but you don't know where you've seen them, you don't know what they're called, what they're called, and then everybody's angry at you because they actually remember you very well and they've gossiped about you for ages. Anyway, so yeah, it didn't go very well, because when someone came to help me, I pissed them off, and then they were hating me and calling the police because I told them to go away, and I was bad once again. And the police once again, you will believe me, asked me, "Are you still doing the shooting training?" I wanted to really shoot him at this point, the fucking policeman. Like, your mind is not working well, mate. Not working well at all. So instead of telling off the guy that was like taking me to his house just to insult me, essentially, whistle in my ears with his friend and just terrify me even further, then I was like, it was 11 o'clock and I was like 4 miles from where I needed to be on foot. Instead of, like having something to say about him and his sick projections. Now I was being asked, are you still, like, they were really preoccupied. And I'm like, I only said them to fuck off, to go away, because it was dark, It's unbelievable how, like, woman has become really nothing, like the value of a woman's word, of especially victim word. Like, when you are a victim, you become victimized by them. Because to be a victim of a crime doesn't mean that you're a victim. It just means that you were unconsensually the victim of a violation. Basically, can happen to anybody. But then they victimize you because they make you without a voice, without the ability to speak up. Well, I'm gonna leave you with all of this. This was a long video. The only thing to say more is find that place where you can stay and have your things, even if it's a tent on a roof of someone. Some place where nobody goes. And just have this tent. If it's winter, if it's the summer, if you have a boat, whatever you have, but you need a place that you don't pay. And so I'm saying a tent because there is millions of wild places in nature, and in Sweden this is mostly true everywhere. Because if you have a belt tent, you even can be in Sweden with the snow, because you can have you can have a stove and it works, and it's not gonna it's going to be dry, it's going to be okay. You can live in a belt tent even in Sweden. So if you find yourself in this situation, just go to nature and to have some human that if they come near, they are gonna be really in trouble, because otherwise you're not protected. I mean, it needs to be a place where nobody knows that you are there, like in Sweden, that it's really huge. Then okay, if you don't bring your phone, if you don't, but on just be aware that also the car can have a GPS, so it mustn't be too remote, unless someone that you really trust can take you there with a lot of food, and then there is some kind of transport that you can come out of there safely by foot if you need to, because you must never bring the car with you where you're gonna sleep. You need a bike, you need something, or a means of transport, or a friend that drives you, so that the car is not where you sleep. They must not know. Even when I was living in Vosseberg, that worked to the purpose of having some rest, because they were stopping to hunt the cabin when they thought that I wasn't there. And I thought, if they come in when in the time of this, I'm gonna catch them. So yeah, that's the main thing, to just not trust the houses of others and not bring your things that are precious to you there. Because when the abuse happens, you need to be able to come away very quickly. Like, don't stay there. I mean, unless you have animals like me, then or you don't have the possibility like I had when I couldn't move. I was to a point of absolute exhaustion, and it is only when I found myself facing complete despair that I thought, okay, I'm gonna go in the streets. That a friend from Britain gave me an idea that helped me. That is what I share with you. And in Britain, that would be very possible. If you had someone that you really trusted, which is very difficult in Britain, because you would need someone to drive you. It's not a place where you can bike very much. It's in the Netherlands, you just need a good electric bike, and then you need a tent or a boat, or a loft, or a place to squat in, and just bring your stuff there and make your hiding hole, and just accept that you're not gonna have a bath, you're not gonna have a shower, you're not gonna have all that. You need to go to the swimming pool to have that with everybody else. That is really tough if you love the water and need the water as much as I do, and the intimacy with the water. But until it's summer, you can swim in the sea and in the lakes and in the rivers. And then when you go to the houses of people, you do not move your center there. This is what is gonna be the biggest game changer in your life when you're a victim of stalking or of serial moving, that you're forced. So you start to make the world your home, and everywhere that you go becomes your home, even if except those very places, like this diabolic place of where this monster lives. I mean, he thinks he's ruined my life, but he doesn't know how I'm gonna make public all the crap that he told me. It's not gonna be funny, little bastard. It's unbelievable how women can try. And when you are in this situation, instead of supporting you, people just keep spitting on you more and more, because that is what they have, and crushing you. and telling you crap, you know, like I have looked after his horse, even though I was not paid for it. And I have looked after all his animals, even though I was not paid for it. Because to cover me for not even hold of the petrol is not to pay me. And on the day after the last day, the horse just needed to go out, and he's not taking care of the animals. He's not feeding the cats. He's not. The cats have disappeared because he's not feeding them. So I just let the horse out, and then it evicted me because I left. I mean, I came to do the laundry and to pick up my phone, the old one for the police, the one with the evidence. And I just saw the horse and let him out with the harness and everything, because otherwise he would have waited until 11 when John would have let him out, you know. And yeah, this was the reason why I got evicted in the end, because I had compassion on the horse. But he said he looks after the animals himself, so of course he's going to let him back in at night. That is the time that the horse gets let back in. And so, of course, if I leave at noon, I'm not going to put him back. He just came out. He needs to be out longer. And he says, no, you think wrong. I don't like how you think. We think differently. Go away. Move. So I said, okay. He said, I refund you. I really hope so. I really, really hope so. Because for me, it's a lot of money, €600 for a room without windows. You know. So I just came and to just slept 2 days to try and recover from the idea, you know. Just slept like a log. Then came, have a shower because I was all having infections. I'm so prone to infections on the skin, and I had this Christmas wound got infected, because although it was healed, where the skin, like also where I have tattoos, if I don't put sunscreen, I can get really burned, and then if it get infected. So I was all with the Christmas wound, all infected, and thinking, fuck, there isn't even like a report on this, and this isn't good. Like after 6 months, I still have problems because the skin is more sensitive, so I still have to protect it like a tattoo or like a wound, like an open wound, because even though if it's closed, it's gonna do that, my skin. I mean, it was completely closed. Of course, it was after 6 months. So, yeah, these are the ideas. And it is from that center that I realized that everything that takes me away from my center, it's dangerous. When I am victim of stalking, especially, I need to be my center. And from there, you find step by step, day by day, these little solutions, because you have to think that you are going to be small in front of those men and communities that want to do you harm, and they want to see you criminalized and in jail, like they do so many victims. I wish I could make a documentary. If I was a filmmaker, that's what I would do. I would go to the prisons, to the women prisons, and tell these stories. Sorry. Well, that is it. Good night. So yeah, I came here to pack, and then the idea was to go there in daylight, but it's like now 1 o'clock. So I'm gonna finish packing and cleaning and leave with dawn. And then I'm not gonna let this stay, just wash it away, because every place that you go, if it's a bad place, it's just a place where you're gonna gather more crimes against you. And I mean, this person could be really dangerous. He could kill me, he could rape me, and only because it's, even now that is like all crippled, because he could have weapons. So is someone that is an ex-commander, he still has, you know, everything in the house, and he can go in my room when he wants. I mean, so when he said go away, yes, I'm gonna go away as soon as possible, man. And that is today. So I came right away, packed everything, cleaned everything, and I'm almost finished. And I'm really glad I'm leaving. Today is the birthday of my beloved, and also of my mom, of my mama. That's terrible.